I'm Quentin.
I'm Kaylee.
I'm Jeffrey.
I'm Laurel.
Keith.
I'm Michael.
I'm Gabby Fisher, and here is my discovery speech for public speaking online. Today, I'll be talking to you guys about Homo evolutus, our possible next human species. What I want you to think about is how 10,000 years ago, what our previous ancestors may have been like, how they may have lived up until now. And from now, think about 10,000 years in the future, how we may have evolved and changed, and what factors may have played a role until now, until the revolution of science and all of its research. We evolved strictly through speciation and natural selection. Scientific research is evolving so we can better study speciation, unnatural selection, and transhumanism. There's much to learn about where we as humans have been and where we continue to go. Speciation. The formation of new species, a result of geographic, physiological, anatomical, or behavioral factors that prevent previously interbreeding populations from breeding with each other. Meaning that a horse that was created, that lived 10,000 years ago, would have evolved so much through natural selection that a horse today could not reproduce with it. Now, for humans, we evolved from hominids, or human-like people. And through reading Juan Enriquez and Steve Gollan's book, Homo evolutus, the next human species, their studies have shown that at least 3 hominids were alive when our ancestors emerged from Africa 50 to 80,000 years ago. Now 50 to 80,000 years ago, that was a really long time. And further reading in their book, Enriquez and Gullens go on to further explain how we were nearly wiped out by a drought. That means basically that everybody else, all human-like people died out. Our species survived, and there was only about 2,000 of us left. And to put that in comparison, basically a small town in Oklahoma birthed the entire human population that we see today. From this small population, as it began to grow, we made many changes to Earth's surface so that we could thrive and that we weren't competing with other animals for our food or shelter or safety. And in Juan Enriquez's TED Talk, for 4 billion years, what lived and died on this planet depended on 2 principles: natural selection and random mutation. We've created this completely parallel evolutionary system where we are practically unnaturally selecting and using non-random mutation. For example, that's why we have dogs like Shih Tzus. They were bred down from Tibetan Mastiffs to be small and cute and to live in our little houses and just be companions. Or that's why you don't see a herd of wild Mustangs running through the streets of downtown Tulsa. And from this, from 10,000 years ago to now, this is how far we've come. But how far will we go? To see a little bit of glimpse of this, we can look into our everyday lives. Now, transhumanism. That is the belief or theory that the human race can evolve beyond its current physical and mental limitation, especially by science and technology. For the mental part of this, I'm going to use cell phones as an example. For cell phones, you use them every single day. They're right in your pocket. And they help you do things that you normally couldn't do on your own, like search through Google. That gives you access to information that you wouldn't necessarily know off your head. Or you have calendars that help you remind you of dates that you wouldn't remember on your own. And also connect with other people as far as other humans, where you can't physically be with them at the time, but you can call them and tell them the things that they need to know. Now for the physical aspect, This is something a little bit new that I'm sure all of you have heard of. It's called stem cell research. Stem cell research has predominantly been used in far as like mice and lab rats, but it's progressed to the point to where a single stem cell can produce an entire organ like livers, lungs, hearts, and even skin. 10-15 years ago, or 10-15 years in the future, we may be using those as human organs. Now, think about what that might mean for us as a species. And when we hit this landmark, what will come next? Now, after seeing where we've come and where we may go, and what key factors played a role as far as speciation, unnatural selection, and transhumanism, we are suspected to be called Homo evolutus. But as we evolve as humans, we may pick up more complex names as we ourselves become more complex.